church, but the church won't bring the power outside in the community. The pastor saying you going to hell, you go out, you love the hell out of them. If you learn to love the hell out of them, I stopped some young boys on the street the other day when I was coming up here because I keep my little tracts in my pocket. And I stopped him and I talked to him and I apologized to him because I'm 66 years old and I did not leave him a legacy.
I'm Laura Cowan. I'm a community activist, domestic violence advocate. We're here today on a call to action. And the question we're asking is, where is our clergy? We're calling our clergy out. We're calling our clergy to come and help us in the street. We as a community activists cannot do this work alone. My daughters were brutally attacked, beaten, robbed, stitches in their mouth, head contusions on Dove Avenue last week. I have my sister here, Tawana Starr Spratt. Her son, Darnell, was killed a few days ago. So we want action. And we're asking the ministers to come out the pulpit, come out the four walls, get into the street with us. Let's minister to these kids, and let's save some lives.
Hi, my name is Tawana Starr Spratt, and my son was murdered January 21st, and his killers are still running free. One of the killers that had his CCWs is a convicted felon, and he was able to plot, plan, and murder my son just because he was a convicted felon and because he had a record. But that day, they did not interview anyone. All they interviewed was the killer's family, and they made all the other people that was around, they threatened him. They told him not to go to the police. But they all came to me and they all told me what happened that day. And I just want justice for my son because he didn't deserve it.
A lot of times people forget that the Honorable Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. So in just a couple of minutes' time, I just want to put it out there. Number one, where would the civil rights movement have been from the 1950s through 1960s if you didn't have the clergy involved? Because the clergy was able to not only come together, but they brought various members of the African American, of the black community together strongly. So number two, where is the clergy now? Because let's put it out there. If we have almost in every community a black church, some areas, if you go down 105 from Superior to St. Clair, that's Church Row right there. You have a church on almost every other corner. We need the church to go back to the 1950, 1960 mindset so that they are actually honoring the memory of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And number three, I'll leave you with this one thought. Where would we be right now if you had the black church out there as a whole? Just look at how much greater that we could be. And that goes from everyone, not just the Christian church, but when you have millions who follow the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and you talk about being strong in the street and setting that example, and where men need to be men, then you need those brothers out there reaching out on the street corner. Because if you had about 100 men on different street corners and you start splitting them up, oh wow, talk about that scene from the Malcolm X film. Look at it in reality.
I feel like the church, they may look at people in the quote-unquote streets as heathens or sinners and down on them. How can we kind of eliminate that?
He came for those that were sick. In other words, the one that was evil, the one that had problems, the one that had issues, the ones that was going through a lot of change. They were in prison. They were out on the street cussing and fussing everybody out, and they was fighting policemen, fighting their wives and everything, and they got saved. But they got to understand, they didn't get saved to sit down and do nothing. They got saved so they can go back and save some other ones. That's the difference in us being men. That's why our whole community, black or white, is getting tore up by the devil, because we are letting everything happen because we're not doing anything about it. If we're afraid of the person that's out there on the street that's an addict or a drug addict, we got no business preaching. God did not give us the spirit of fear, but of power and love and a sound mind. We can't preach the things that we can't do. All of us men, everybody got our stuff, moved out to Warrenville, moved over to the other neighborhood. We didn't stop to think to come back in here and try to build something. We hate unity, especially as black folks.
Wow.
We don't have unity unless we're having a party.
All I said, we can run, but we can't hide. Violence is at everybody's doorstep. The thing with us is we have learned to do, well, it's not affecting me, so it doesn't count.
Right.
Well, I remember back when Mayor Frank Jackson was coming out of his house one day and violence walked up in his door and somebody shot it right in front of him in his yard. I always was saying, they're running but you can't hide. This happened on his own street. How close? Zach Reed, driving home from work one day, kids run right across his car, shooting like the Wild Wild West. But what I told people, and I explained this to the Lord the other day on the phone, we have to go after these kids and these young people of what they like. And one of the things we put together was trying to deal with these kids with this music that plays a big part in the violence.
And when you have a more positive self-image, you treat yourself in a different way than what I see them treating themselves, because they think they're treating themselves right, but you're dying and not even to live to see your children grow up, whether you're dead or in jail. You're not seeing your children grow up. You're not becoming grandparents. We're not becoming grandparents.
Like Pastor Williams said, there's a church almost in every corner, more than a restaurant. If they all got out, our neighborhoods would be safe. This is just a list of a few, because the list went on and I've been rolling out the door. The Abyssinia Baptist Church, Reverend Leo Parker, I'm calling you out. The Word Church, Reverend R.A. Vernon, calling you out. Olivet Baptist Church, Reverend Jawanza Colvin, calling you out. Greater Abyssinia Church, Reverend Cavanis, calling you out. Antioch Baptist Church, Reverend Dr. Todd Davidson Jr., calling you out. Greater Love Missionary Baptist Church, Bishop Eugene Ward Jr., calling you out. Theodosia, I said it right, Church of Bethsaida, thank you. Church of Cleveland, Bishop Morris Terry, calling you out. Mount Olive Baptist Church, Reverend Larry Harris Sr., calling you out. Mount Pleasant Baptist Church, and you see all these churches, Kinsman, Union, right in their area. We are calling you out. Holy Trinity Baptist Church, Sheldon, Flanagan, calling you out. Olive Grove Missionary Baptist Church, Reverend Clifford Carter, calling you out. This list goes on, and we'll be here all day. I want to wrap it up, and I'm telling you now, we, the people, need you. We need you to come behind the pulpit. Just meet on Sundays is not going to work. We need you out there in the community. We need you to be street soldiers like we are. Get out there and help your people. Your congregation is dying. Your choir members are dying out there in the street. Little old ladies are afraid to come out at night. They're prisoners in their own home. Your elders, they're prisoners. So help them and help us. We need you.